Hi everyone. Um, Charlotte here. I was just giving the others time before they joined. So 10 minutes, 11 minutes have already elapsed, and I think we can already start. So I want to welcome you to the second touch point, which is Unveil You, a journey to self-identity. Before we move on, I'd just like everyone to say hi. If you're able to turn on your video, well and good. If you're not, we'll understand, but at least unmute and let us know how you're doing. So I'll go according to the list here. The first will be Albertina.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Okay, thank you so much for the meeting. I'm sorry I missed the first meeting. I'm fine, and it's January. My birthday is on the 20th, so I'm the birthday girl.
Ooh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next will be Annabelle.
Okay, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. This is Annabelle, and I don't know. Okay. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
All right. I love you all.
Love you too. Next we'll have Deborah.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Looking forward to unveiling myself.
Amazing, amazing.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Next we'll have Mugeni Charity. Charity? Okay. As we try to find Charity. Natasha?
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
I would have tried to turn on my video, but my internet connectivity, if I try, I might just log out of this meeting. So good morning, everyone. I am looking forward to the session today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next we'll have Ntabeleng.
Hi everyone, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm excited to be part of the meeting today, and I'm looking forward for the great meeting. Thank you.
You're welcome. We're glad to have you this time.
Sorry guys for last time.
It's okay, no problem. Next we'll have Primrose.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Sorry for the noisy background. This is great.
Sorry, we didn't get you there.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very close to the noisy background, but I'm happy to be here.
We're also happy to have you. Next we'll have Rabia.
Hello, habari. Good morning, everyone. And I'm happy to joining this meeting today. Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Glad to have you. Next we'll have Shayrat. Miss Shayrat. Okay, then we'll go to Simpiwe.
Good morning, beautiful ladies.
Good morning.
So happy to be in this meeting, although I missed the first one, but I'm excited about today. Thank you.
You're welcome. We're glad to have you today. Shirat has said in the chat that she's in a noisy place, so can only hear and can't speak, but will be settled in a few. It's okay, Shirat. It's okay. Next we'll have Binta.
Yeah, hello, good morning, everyone.
Good
Do you hear
morning.
me?
Yeah.
Hi. Happy to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Hoping to learn a lot again, as usual. Always wonderful being here. Thank you.
Great. Next we'll have Rosemary.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here today, and I'm looking forward to learn and enjoy. Thank you.
Amazing. Next we'll have Aura. Maureen, Aura.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Yeah, I hope you are doing well,
Yes.
and I'm happy to hear from you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Cool. And then we'll have Millicent.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so happy and very glad to be here with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you as well. Next we'll have Kevin.
Good morning.
Good morning. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to meet all of you, and I'm honored to gather here in the presence of a very inspiring group of women leaders, and of course, this journey for the chapter 2024. I'm very grateful to all of you. I thank you to all of you, and of course, to Charlotte, to Beryl, and definitely to our executive director, Maureen Moringa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kevin. Next we'll have iPhone. Someone has joined as iPhone. I'm not sure who that is.
That is me. Good morning, everyone.
Good.
It's Favor.
Oh, hi, Favor. If you could please rename yourself.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Favor Eramson Taimana. I am a representative from MHSR, and I am so glad to be here once again.
Yes. Thank you, Favor. Next we'll have Beryl. Welcome. I believe that is everyone. So I'm going to, oh wait, Ivana. Ivana,
Yeah,
if you could,
hello.
How are you? Tell us how you are.
I'm doing good. Thank you. Morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing okay.
Everyone is fine. Thank you for joining in this morning. And then last but not least, we'll have our very able facilitator, Ma'am Maureen Morenga. So even as she tells us how she is and how her week has been, I'll just hand over the rest of the session to her.
Thank you, Charlotte. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. Good to know that you're doing fine. My week is also fine, a bit busy, but we're managing. Like the session today says, we have already done 22 minutes, so I think I'll just go straight to the session. Today, we are going to unveil ourselves. So we are going to explore our identity. So if you could give yourself one adjective, if you could describe yourself in one word, I want you to take a minute and just think about who you are and describe yourself in one word. Just one word. Something that really, I know you can describe yourself in many ways, but one thing that really stands out about you, that if someone mentions, you'd say, yeah, this is me. So that thing that describes you, that one word that describes you, I want you to put it on chat. The one word that describes you. So in the next 2 minutes, let's put on chat the one word that describes us. So sorry, I was muted. I was reading to myself, so I can see the whatever. There's bubbly, there's passionate, resilient, eager, adaptive, compassionate, resilient, inquisitive, driven, courteous, resilient, motivated, brave, passionate. There's a lot of passion around the room. But looking at as I look for the presentation, looking at what we have cited there as what actually describes us, I can see there's a lot of qualities of leadership. There's a lot of qualities of leadership in
of a leader in some of the descriptions you have made.
You are muted, ma'am. We can't hear you.
Muted again, because people have put different things. It also shows that, I don't know why I keep muting. It also shows that we are different and we are diverse, despite the fact that we work for the same goals, we work for the same things. We are also diverse and different. So I want to share my presentation. Where are we? I want to share my. Just a moment. I think I've opened too many windows. Just give me a moment. I have opened too many windows, so. Will be just a minute. Can you see anything?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Kindly unmute yourself.
Again. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is a speed networking. So I'll want you, we would have gone on groups, but I don't know how to do that in this platform. We need to get ourselves better at that. So we will get a package that allows us to go on group, but we are going to do a speed networking. Yeah, so number one, type on chat your name, your role in your organization, and your name, your organization, and the role in that organization. And then you write what people count on you for. What people always say that if so-and-so was here, this would have been done. So name, role, and what people count on you for. So let's do that quick round of speed networking. Just your name, your organization, and what people count on you for. Like what you're known to do best, what people can rely on you to do in your organization. If possible, please everyone write what do people count on you for? Thank you, Ivana. Thank you, Mugeni. Thank you, Albertina. Wow, we have a communications person. We have a spokesman, an advocate. We have advocacy. We have wow, communication again. Bring them on, bring them on. We want to know you. This is speed dating. What do people count on you for in your organization? They say, if so-and-so was here, this will be taken care of. What do they rely on you for? Okay, so there are people who have told us what people rely on them for, but there are people who have told us about their work and what they do in their work. So again, whenever we are told sometimes to talk about ourselves, we talk about our work and not really ourselves. Because the people who have told us they rely on me for communication. And then there are people who have just told us, you know, you could be a communications person, but people really don't rely on you for communication because either you don't do it so well or because you're just doing it, you're doing it for, what is it called? For PR purposes, or you're just doing it because it's a job. So I love some of the responses you have given about you could like for example, Kaimana has told us she's a facilitator and people count on her to deliver quality information, research, and advocacy planning because that is what she does best. So if you look at your answer, does that represent what you do best? Okay, let's go to the second part of knowing each other. I hope you're looking at what others are and getting to know them. We are just speed dating. Unfortunately, we couldn't do this in person, so we have to speed date here on the internet. So the second round of information I want you to put on chat. What is something you are proud of in the last year, in 2024? What is something that you did that you're really, really proud of? What is something you did in 2024 that you really, really are proud of? Thanks, Rabia. Thanks, Ivana. Thanks, Annabelle. No, it's Annabelle, that was the previous question. I'm waiting for the others to tell us what they did that is really, they made them really proud. And I agree with you, Ivana, it's not always, we are living in a very difficult and corrupted world that if you're honest and you're true, sometimes it becomes very, very difficult. But we are proud of you that you're able to do this. Thanks, Rabia, for TB Women Tanzania. We are hoping to visit soon and get to network more. And then, Charity, thank you. Last year, you reached out to people and created awareness around malaria prevention, which is very critical. Malaria is one of the biggest killer in our continent. I agree with you, Kaimana. Just like Ivana said, it's not always easy to stand up for what you believe, especially in the harsh world that we live in. Thank you, Ntabeleng. That was really nice. Congratulations. Wow, Sheirat, congratulations. You presented an abstract. Yeah. These are quite impressive milestones, you know. These are impressive milestones. What did the others do? 2024. We want to hear from everyone. What did you do? What is that one impressive thing that you did? Don't make this relationship one-sided. It's speed dating. So we want to hear from you as well. For me, last year, I launched TB Women Academy 2024 cohort, the first cohort in TB Women Academy. For me, this has been a dream of many years. And so I was really, really proud of myself. Congratulations, Charlotte. That was impressive. Mm-hmm. Ah, good job, Deborah. What did the others do last year? We want to hear, we want to know. We, Mshene, it's for everyone. We want to see what others did. I don't want to name names. So just share. Even that one thing, not many, just one thing that really made you feel good about yourself. I'm sure there are many failures we experienced as people who work in health, as people who work in communities, as leaders. There are many times we feel we haven't done as much as we wanted to. But then there's just that one thing that really makes you feel proud of having spent time on it and stuff like that, and therefore worth sharing. So please share with us that one. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you, Techno. Who's Techno KL, KL4? Please rename yourself if you're still having your phone as your name. To rename yourself, there is that place for participants, yeah. You right-click it, and then you'll see yourself, and then you can rename. You can right-click and find the opportunity to remain. Ah, congratulations, Millicent. They say every life saved is worth it. Good job. Natasha, good job. Good job. So I can see most of you are working in health. It was something to do with health. It was something to do with women and girls. It was something to do with human rights, you know. So I think we still are on the right track. We can see a lot of similarities between us. We can see that there are areas where we are really concurring or where we work that are similar to each other. And so, good job, Simfiwe. As we move forward, I would want to know, what is that thing about your leadership that you're curious about? Whether you're leading 3 people, 10 people, you're leading a support group, you're leading a project, you're leading a department in your organization, or you're even leading your family. What is that one thing that you're very curious about? Name that one thing that you're curious about. Okay, so Maureen, it's about development. Ivana, it's about adaptation to context and needs, but also empowering others. Rabia is about growth. You're curious about growth of your leadership. Again, you're curious about how, I think you meant how to use new technologies in your leadership journey. Sifu, it's about growth. Ntabeleng is about positive impact. Growth and ability to communicate effectively, growth on my side as a leader, growth, balancing different aspects and styles of leadership, policy formulation, balancing leadership and personal life, sustainable initiatives. Yeah, so like I'm looking at the areas of leadership that make you or that you are curious about. And I can see most of you are curious about growing their leadership. And I think this is something that we will tackle a lot in this journey. And then there are others that are talking about being impactful to others. This is also something that we will tackle in this leadership. There are others that are talking about sustainable initiatives. We will also talk about how, as a leader, you can have initiatives that are sustainable or that you are able to sustain and to promote and to culture and to whatever, to bring in the culture of growth. Beryl has talked about balancing the different aspects and styles of leadership, which is good. You remember when we were talking about the 6 caps at the meeting in Abuja. We were talking about when to wear different caps, because as a leader, you may not always employ the same style, but you may change your style of leadership or your style of handling situations based on what is before you. So again, yeah, so all that we are going to tackle as we move on in this journey. So finally, what kind of food makes you feel at home? What is your comfort food? Hey, someone is with me. The people of chicken, we are there together. The chicken guys, we are there together. About rice, I'm not sure. Let me also put mine on chat. Chicken curry, chapati and beans. Oh, okay. Rice and chicken, chapati and beans. Fish and ugali, spicy food with chicken, rice and good. Mm. Mm. Hey, omena. Okay. Yeah. So I think we've all listed our comfort foods, and they are as diverse as we are. But I've realized there is a lot of commonality in some of the food, especially with rice. There is a lot of rice and chicken happening here. Some are unique, such as omena. Albertina, the ugali and the pap, I think are the same thing. So Albertina likes pap, spinach and meat. Wow. So we are as diverse as our comfort foods. But it's really good to know what people like. And I thought people like African food. Ivana has just said anything with meat goes. She's not vegetarian. Ah, semo. Semo is ugali, I think. Egusi soup with chicken. Wow. Okay. Thanks everyone for sharing your comfort food. So as we were networking together, so just take the notes, we will send the presentation. Just take a note of what you think is important for you, but we will share the presentations after this session. So as we were having a conversation and getting to know each other, doing the speed dating, I realized people were talking about growth and of course, growth within their leadership. And the reason we are actually beginning with looking at ourselves in this leadership journey is because leadership begins with you. Leadership begins with you, with identifying who you are and appreciating your values and your knowledge. So what we will talk about today is experience-driven leadership. This is the kind of leadership, or it is an approach that emphasizes learning and growth derived from personal and professional experiences. Some of us are leaders, not because we went to a leadership course, but because there are things we believe in There are things we think through and we think, if I do this, then I'm acting in a leadership role. And of course, there are other things that we have learned outside. There are things that we have derived or we have learned from seeing and experiencing. When you are young, some of you are parents, when you are young, you saw how you were parented. And therefore, when you became parents, you did not go to any parenting class, but you begin raising your child or children based on the experience you have from how you were raised. So most of us in our workplaces, around our homes, we lead based on our personal experiences. A bit about professional experience. Maybe you've been taught how to facilitate, and therefore, if you're the lead facilitator, you are able to facilitate on how you are taught how to facilitate. But 70% is usually around our personal experiences. So this style of leadership and values and practical knowledge is gained through real-world challenges, successes, failures, and incorporates these insights into decision-making and strategic planning. And this is the kind of leadership that is known as experience-driven leadership. Experience-driven leaders are often adept to adaptability and resilience, leveraging their past experiences to navigate complex situations that inspire their teams. So usually you look back at learning from what you've experienced in life to make decisions most of the time. That is what experience-driven leaders do. They tend to prioritize mentorship and coaching, sharing their wisdom, lessons learned, and foster development of others. You find that people who are learning from experience, that's why you see the HIV movement grew very fast, because there was a lot of experience-driven leadership, and people would leverage their lived experience to support others who had just been diagnosed and they did not know what to do about their diagnosis, or they were going through some form of stigma. And so the ones that had overcome stigma and were able to cope with HIV would leverage their lived experiences to support those that were just newly diagnosed. And that is what drove the HIV movement to be very strong in the early days of the response. So this kind of experience-driven leadership, it encourages continuous learning and reflections, allows leaders to evolve and refine their practices in response to new information and changing environments. You cannot rely on your experiences to lead throughout the process. You have to open up to allowing yourself to evolve and to refine your practices. So you have to be learning every time if you're an experience-driven leader, because some of the experiences are old and you want to conform to the changing environment. So you have to be able to keep evolving, keep learning. For those of you who keep diaries, at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, what did I learn today? What is the new style or new thing that I learned today that makes me a better person? So there are three conditions. We were talking about growing. So there are three conditions to grow vertically. If you want to grow in your skills as a leader. So if you wanted horizontal development, if you are to grow horizontally as a leader, you need tools. You need tools to help you. You need models. You need step-by-step learning that this is how you need to take. This is what you need to do. You need to go to a leadership training to be able to grow horizontally or horizontal development. I mean, to expand your skills. That is because you're taking in new things. You're taking in things that are coming externally from you. That's why we are calling it horizontal. You're taking in external knowledge. You're learning from seeing what others are doing. You're learning from seeing what people are aping. And sometimes you find yourself demonstrating someone else. But there are three conditions that you need to grow vertically. Now you've moved from looking at others and now you're coming back to self-reflection. First of all, you need the heat experience. So you need heat experience, and the heat experiences are where you you like do something and then it doesn't work for you and you have to take responsibility for that which hasn't worked. And you know, and people always say, if you can't learn from your mistakes, don't make them. But you know, sometimes the learning from mistakes is usually, or learning from experience is usually very painful if that experience wasn't good. So you have to really learn from the heat experiences. You have to learn from where you made mistakes, where you oopsed. That is one of the conditions that you need to grow vertically. The second one is around, so every time you make a mistake, don't punish yourself so much. Look at it from, what can I learn from this mistake? You delivered your report late. It did not go well with the organization or with the donor. What can you learn from that mistake? You wrote a proposal, it did not sail through. What can you learn from that experience? It's a heat experience. You wanted to do something, you applied for a new job, you are not even called for an interview. Maybe 3 times you did that, you did not succeed. What can you learn from that experiences? Those heat moments, the red moments, what can you learn from them? And many other mistakes we have made in life. As a person, as an individual, you ask yourself, the mistake is here. I have to, and sometimes we have to always take responsibility for some of the failures. But apart from the pain of taking responsibility, what can you learn from them? And then the second perspective you need to look at are the colliding perspectives. There are moments when you feel this is the direction I need to take, but everyone else feels, no, that wasn't the right direction. This was the direction we need to go. And sometimes when people collide with you, and I like what people said, that in 2024, what they're proud about is that they stood for the right, for what they feel is right, despite it being very challenging and despite it being difficult. Because sometimes our institutions, our societies are structured in a way that is not what you believe as an individual should be is the right thing. And you have to stand up for the right or the truth, and it doesn't go well. And sometimes could risk losing your job. So this colliding, the first one we have dealt with heat experiences. The second one, we need to learn also from the colliding perspective. How do you handle it when people don't believe in your perspective? Are these people you that become perfect enemies, or are these people you will hate? You know, we have those people that every time you bring an idea, they tell you, no, I don't think we should go that way. Like, for example, in my country now, everything my president says is debated upon and it is rejected. So how then do you learn from the colliding perspectives, those that collide with you as they don't go along? Because as a leader, it is not all the time that you will tell people this is the direction we want to take and they'll conform and say, yeah, we think it's the right one. There'll always be sometimes, not always, but sometimes you may find dissenting voices or people who feel that the direction you're taking them is not the right one. Or it could be a colleague, it could be your boss. How do you handle the colliding perspectives? So it's another condition to grow vertically by considering the colliding perspectives and managing those. in a way that do not distract you, but in a way that you can also learn from the colliding perspective. Sometimes when you're in your quiet corner, then you realize that some of those things people were saying, or those that had dissenting voices, some of what we're saying were really making sense. And that brings us to the other part is reflection. Do you ever sit back to reflect? Reflection is very critical. Heat experiences are good. Colliding perspectives are good, but the thing that drives all this is the reflection. It is very critical to have a reflection. How do you reflect? At what time do you reflect? There are people who do it early in the morning. There are people who do it at the last time in the evening. But it's always good to just have a quiet moment. Don't just, you know, some of us became leaders by proxy. We just found ourselves in the leadership position. Now we were just leading. It wasn't intentional. You just roller skate and find yourself where you find yourself, make your mistakes and move on. But again, one thing that we realized that has really helped us is about reflecting. At the end of the day, you reflect and say, well, this is what I did today. This is how it has helped me. This is what I need to change. This is what I need to improve. So and so said this about me. I think I may not like it, but positive criticism is also good, or criticism is good for growth. Some may be positive, some may be negative, but again, what helps us is reflection and how positively we reflect about the things we experience. So for vertical growth, we must first of all create a culture of self-awareness. You must know who you are. If I ask you in a nutshell, who are you? You should be able to describe yourself. Think back, look at yourself. Who are you? So self-awareness is very, very critical in the leadership journey. You must know who you are. Self-awareness has nothing to do with the tools, with the horizontal development. It has nothing to do with the tools, the models, the skills that you're taught. It is about you. And one thing about you is that you decide who you are. You can decide to be loud. Nobody will make that decision for you. That's a decision you make on yourself. So this is that one thing that nobody can change it for you. It is you who can do it for yourself. So you must self-identify who you are. You must be conscious of the person you are. If you're a person who is a red hat thinker, you always empathize with people. You'll always find yourself in a meeting room and you make a decision and then you say, yeah, that sounds like me. I knew. And people would say, we knew you'd take us back to forgiving and letting go and empathizing and going beyond our budget because we have to consider so-and-so who has just come in. You know, there's always something about you that is you. So that one you must be very aware. In everything you do, you must remember, I think I'm doing this because this is who I am. And then the second thing is your perspectives in lives. What are your values? You know, those values that if you are to be taken in jail for believing in them, you cannot change them. You must understand, these are my values. Some people have written their values in their bedrooms. Some have written them in their offices and just put them on the wall to remind themselves that these are my values. So as an individual, just reflect within yourself. Do you know your values? If someone asks you, what do you value? What are your values? And some of the time, our values are actually developed from past experiences. You experience something, maybe someone treated you unfairly and you told yourself, I will always be just in all my life. If this is the pain that I have received from bad treatment, I will never ever treat someone badly. That forms a value. And sometimes your values are developed on how you make decisions and react to various situations. If I threw a $100 bill at the gate and looked at people who are passing, there are people who will pick and ask for who the owner is, and there are people who will pick it and put it in their pocket. So depending on how people react, that forms part of their values. Another thing that makes you understand your value as an individual is what is motivating you. What motivates you? Why do you even wake up in the morning to do what you do as an individual? Have you ever asked yourself, why do I wake up in the morning to do what you do? If it is to make money, that's your value. If it is to help somebody, that's your value. And every time people talk about their values, they always try to look at the good ones and say, oh, me, I do the work I do because I'm passionate about my community. But it is okay to do the work you do so that you make money and live a good life. That is not a bad thing to do. That is what drives you in the morning. That will form part of your values. And then another thing that inspires our values is role models and inspirations. We sometimes experience role models in our lives. Some of them know that they are our role models. Some of them do not know that they are our role models, but we keep looking for them. And now with the world of social media, that makes the world become a small village, we are able to look for our role models, even if they don't know us, on social media, and just look at what she did today, how did she dress up, what was she wearing. You're even tempted to check or to Google what kind of perfume she wears, how she talks, how she walks, how she color codes her clothes, how she carries down her business. So some of those things about our role models also form our value. Another thing that really drives our value is passion and interests. There are people who, like, I'm in this field, this field because this was my passion, but it's not what I trained for initially. Initially, when I was in school, I was doing what I thought would please my parents, and therefore I took a different course, but then later I realized that this life is not a rehearsal, and therefore I went to do something I'm more passionate about. So what's your passion? Those are some of the things that drive your value. And then how do you handle conflicts and disagreements? Because that approach also, when you're handling conflicts and resolution, the approach can highlight values such as fairness, empathy, or assertiveness. When you're exploring your passion and interest, this can highlight or can reveal what you truly care about and value. So those are some of the things that that you really look at as an individual that you must be aware of. You know, there are people who are we know we have values, but we've never sat down to note them down or to think through them very critically. And so my assignment today is that when you go back, when we end this session, do a self-reflection. Because I told you leadership begins with you, with identifying who you are. You cannot lead others. And because we are told when you're leading others, you must know who they are, you must know their characters, you must know their likes and dislikes, you must know their failures and successes. You cannot know others if you don't know yourself. So we have to begin by self-reflection. Who am I? What are my values? What am I struggling with? What challenges me? What do I want to achieve that I'm really yearning to achieve? What am I working on to make myself better? So all these things should be in your mind as you think about growth, vertical growth. You should have them all in your mind. Yeah, so up to there, is there anyone with a question? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, Rabia.
Yeah, thank you so much, dear Molin, for this wonderful presentation. So mine, I was just curious to know that between the two leadership style, let's say the horizontal or the vertical, so what is the best way? Should we go with both of them, or you can just go with one and it's done? Yeah, so which one is so special compared to the other, or we allowed to like go with them both? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Rabba. That is a very good question. Now, we have to have both. And that is why we are doing this course. There's something that you bring to the table. And that is now when we're talking about the vertical. It is all about you, about your beliefs, about your values, about yourself, about your strengths. And then there's the vertical, the things that you learn on the way. And so when you bring what you have, and when you learn other things, when you bring what you have from yourself, and then you come to learn the external things, like you do this training, you go to another training, you learn from experience, you learn from watching, then all that strengthens you up. So we need both the vertical and the horizontal, so that we have a 360 growth on leadership. But you cannot learn from others before you understand who you are. That's why we always begin with the self. Who are you? What are your values? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And then that is what now describes exactly who that is what strengthens, that's what prepares you to now grow. Once you have understood yourself, once you have understood your values, once you have understood the kind of person you are, you have understood your identity, then you are able to learn new things. So both of them, in a nutshell, both of them are in a nutshell, both of them are important. Any other question? Yeah, so when you're mapping your identity, like I told you, the vertical and the horizontal. The vertical ones are the given ones. Like I told you about the vertical ones, they're about you, about yourself, who you are. That's your identity. There's nothing you can change about. Like, for example, I'll tell you, I'm a 5'4" in height. I'm dark skin in color. I am a Kenyan. I am female. I mean, those are given to me. I did not choose to be a Kenyan. It was given to me. It's my identity. I did not choose to be dark skinned. I was born dark skinned. So it was something that was given to me. So those are the horizontal. Those are the qualities. Those are the about you that you have. That's your personal life. And then there are those that you choose, the external ones. I can choose to be a learner, or I can choose not to learn. I can choose to be a traveler. I can choose not to be a traveler. I can choose to be a mother. You know, they are the external ones that you choose. So as you map your identity, and this is something that I'll share with you, a template after the session, so that you go and map your identity. It looks like the, what was it called? The what window that had 4 panels. So first of all, you have to map your identity as an individual. And then you can map your identity also as, what is it called? You can map your identity also from your workplace. So I'm trying to share again. I don't know why I have a problem with my sharing button, but I'm trying to share again. And if I'm unable to share, I'll just speak through this, and then I'll share the template with you so that you're able to So there's something with my technology today, so but I'll share with the mapping with you. So when you are mapping your identity, you can map your identity from a personal life and from the workplace. And from the personal life, you can, and we have to map it from the, we said vertical and horizontal. So the given attributes that you have as an individual, and the chosen ones, the ones you have chosen to have. So for example, if I want to talk about my family life from a given perspective, I'll say I'm the eldest in my family. I mean, that one is, now I'm talking about me as a person. I'm mapping my identity as a person. I'm the eldest in my family. I am female. I am a Luo. My tribe is a Luo, and I'm a Kenyan. And I am, I would call myself a Black woman. I have some level of education. That is my personal life, the given. And then the chosen, I am a leader. I travel a lot. I am a mother, and I love watching movies. I love quiet time. I'm an extrovert and an introvert. In that, when I'm in places with many people, I really socialize with them, but there are moments when I just want my me time. I don't want a visitor. I don't want someone to come and have small talk with me, so I don't entertain small talk. That is my chosen as my personal life. I've given you my given, and I've given you my chosen. I don't do small talk. I don't like later, like if you are, for example, in a workshop and I've gone to my room for you to come and tell me, hey, did you see so-and-so? Did you see what she wore? Did you see? And I heard she said this about you. No, I don't like that. So that's my given and my chosen. And then when it comes to workplace, I have positions in different organizations. I work across the globe. I facilitate sessions. I also facilitate dialogues. I coordinate communities. That's my identity that is given because of my work. That is what is expected of me. On the other side, I mentor young people. I'm a member of a social club. I enjoy continuous improvement and learning. I am a member of different community movements. So that is now my chosen. This other one, it was my given workplace, because that is what is in my terms of reference. That is what I have to do. Then I have chosen to do other things that are not in my terms of reference. So that those are the chosen ones. Those are the horizontal ones. So That is how I can actually describe myself. So I'll send for you a tool after this session with clear guidance on how you can map your identity and think through, because this is not something I can tell you in the session. Put on chat, who are you? There are things that you really need to reflect on. Like when we were doing that exercise, it was just a tester. I was trying to ask you to write something about your best food, about your character, about your achievement. And it was taking people time because you didn't know what exactly to put on paper. That's why it was taking some people a lot of time. It is something that needs a little bit of reflection, and then you can put it on paper. So I'll share that. So social identities are usually multiple and intersectional. You can have different social identities. You don't have to have one. They are personally important. It is important to understand your social identity. And they are shaped by the society you come from. For example, if you came to my house and I was having lunch and I ignored you, there's an identity I would get from you because I'm in Africa, and because in Africa we socialize with food. You'd say she's antisocial, she's mean, she's not friendly, and stuff like that, because we use food to socialize. But if you went, for example, to Netherlands, and you found me eating in my house, and I offered food for you, you'd wonder what I've put in the food, because they are not supposed to do that. I mean, if someone did not formally invite you for lunch and you crashed into their house, they cannot offer you food. It is not kind for them to offer you food. So our social identities are also shaped by our societies where we live. And then they are very dynamic and contextual. It is so hard. It is as difficult as finding similar fingerprints, finding different social identities. And we can have same social identities, but we will differ at some point. And in the morning, most of us had same social identities until it came to the food we like. And then bam, everyone went their way. So social identities are important to understand. You need to understand yours. And like I told you, they are multiple and intersectional. They are shaped by society, and they are very dynamic. And when I talked about that, I remember I also mentioned the issue about diversity, saying that we will have different social dynamics. And because we are here for several months working together as a team, we will be very diverse. But for us, we describe diversity like Ola Joseph described it. It is not about how we differ. Diversity is about embracing one another's uniqueness. And like I told you, if you're a leader, you'll find very many diverse people, but don't look at them as different people. Hey, my team is so diverse. Everyone thinks differently, but that is a strength. Look at it as a strength. It is about embracing one another's uniqueness. And Ngozi Adichie also said at some point that the world is such a glorious, multifaceted, diverse place that there are people in the world who will like you, then the real you as you are. So there are people who will like you, the real you as you are. That is all about diversity. So personal identity can be looked at from your own angle, and also there are people who look at you differently. So today, as we focus on this personal identity, as you come to reflect about it, as I send you that tool, it is not about, it will not be about who do people say I am. There are people who will be feeling it in front of their children and other people around them, in front of their colleagues, and they'll be asking, you guys, who do you think I am? Do you think I'm happy? Do you think I'm a sad person? No. The personal identity that you need to understand is, who do you say you are? Who do you think you are? That is the kind of personal identity that you first have to understand. Because this is what you will bring into leadership. That personal identity is what you will bring into the leadership. So as you feel it in and reflect upon it, just know that that person that you have written down is the leader. Because there's very few things we can change about who you truly are. That is why some people always say that today she has shown us her real colors. So personal identity is about your real colors. And many a times we talk about leadership. And some people say leaders are born. Others are said leaders are built. I don't know what you think. Are leaders born? Hold your thought. Stucky, I don't want you to write it on chat. So as we are working towards leadership and ourselves, one of the questions we need to ask is that, is leadership a choice? Do you choose to be a leader? Like I told you, some of us, we found ourselves leaders because you are the firstborn, or you are the breadwinner in your family, and automatically you become a leader because you have to make all the financial decisions, you have to support everyone around you, and you just find yourself roller skating in the leadership arena. So is leadership a choice? And someone said that people become leaders by internalizing a leadership identity and developing a sense of purpose. When you find yourself at that space where you have to make a decision over others, or you have to lead a project, or you have to take up a place, it doesn't matter, even if it is an event and you are supposed to coordinate this event, you are that leader. So when you find yourself in that position, you start internalizing your identity. And the people who just flip, pop, they were just these nice people, and then they've been told, now from today, you'll be leading this group. And they just flip immediately and they start shouting and yelling at people because that is what they internalize as leadership. That is the kind of identity, that is what they have learned over the years. Those are the kind of leaders they have hung around over the years. People who yell and command and punish. So immediately you give them a position, they start ordering people around. You're supposed to sit like this. If you're supposed to come at 8, I said come at 7:30. Things have changed. I am the one in charge. You know, they're this kind of people, because those are the kind of leadership they have seen, and that is what they internalize. So people become leaders by internalizing a leadership identity and developing a sense of purpose. That is why integrating leadership into one's core identity is particularly challenging for women. Because women must establish credibility in a culture that is deeply conflicted about whether, when, or how they should exercise authority. There are moments when you have to exercise authority as a leader, but when you exercise authority, people feel that because you are a woman, you're bossing. You know, we don't like women leaders. They become leaders and they are bossing just because they exercised authority. And it's because for a long time, women have been seen as the inferior or the fair, what is it called, gender. And therefore, if you see a woman in authority trying to exercise the authority, they are branded names. You're given different names because you tried to exercise a bit of authority in how you work. And if you have grown to see yourself as the inferior gender, when you become a leader, it becomes difficult to integrate leadership into your core identity. Maybe you are an orphan. and you grew up in people's houses and they treated you so badly, and you saw yourself as the inferior person, and then all of a sudden you've been made the CEO, it becomes difficult to exercise authority. It becomes difficult to integrate that leadership into your core identity. And when I talk about identity, I mean it's a collection of attributes and beliefs and values and motives and experiences by which we can define ourselves. And our identity takes shape over time and throughout our transitions. For example, before I became a mother, I was a bit rough and ruthless. Then I became a mother and my identity slightly changed. I became a bit more compassionate and, so, and then before I became a leader of maybe TB women, I was very passive. I would do what I want to do and skip others. But as a leader of TB women, I have to be all inclusive. I have to take in more than I did when I wasn't a leader. So, and then I have to be more responsible than I was. I have to think beyond me. And so our identity changes with time and throughout our career transitions. I'm sure the identity you had when you're doing when you're leaving primary school is different from what you had when you're leaving high school, based on some of the experiences you had learned and how much you had matured, and probably it's even different now. So you don't have a permanent identity. It keeps growing, changing, depending on the circumstances and the positions that you're holding in your life. So any question until then? I have described identity. I want to describe something called authenticity. What is authenticity? So authenticity is something like self-authoring. It's that which you do with your own hands, the outcome of a lifelong process of learning about yourself. The one you say, when I was telling you, the one you say, this is me. Some of you in your responses, when I was asking the first 4 questions when we began the session, you are very authentic. You are very genuine. You are very true to yourself. And the people who are authentic were very quick to answer the question. When I said, write on the chat about what you achieved or about who you think you are, they were very genuine. They were very authentic. But there are others who waited to see what people are writing so that they can figure out what to write. So authenticity refers to the quality of being genuine and true to yourself, aligned with your values, beliefs, and actions. It involves presenting yourself in a way that reflects your true identity, rather than conforming to expectations or societal pressures. We all want to look good in front of everyone. I think we all want to look good at every time. So most of the time, we are never authentic. We present ourselves as the image that we feel people want to see. So authentic individuals are open, they're honest, they're transparent in their interactions with others, and they strive to express their thoughts, feelings, and beliefs sincerely. They don't hide anything. So in leadership and personal development, Authenticity is valued because it fosters trust. If you come without the moment when someone smiles at you and you know the smile is not genuine. But when you come to someone with the authentically, it is valued because you foster trust, you foster respect, you get deeper connection with others, and you encourage an environment where individuals feel empowered to express themselves without fear of judgment. So if you're an authentic leader, you are what people see. Like people always like to say, what you see is what you get. If you are an authentic leader, then what someone sees is what they get. You don't hide behind some malicious. You know, there are leaders who are malicious. They tell you, you can take the day off, and then they come and tell you, well, you did not fill the form, so I have deducted it from your salary. An authentic leader presents themselves honestly. And so that is a very critical virtue in leadership, because with that, the people you lead will trust you, they'll respect you, they will have deeper connections with you, and you'll encourage an environment where people feel empowered to express themselves without fear of judgment. It also promotes a sense of integrity and honesty, and contributes to the overall well-being of individuals. For yourself, it's also important. So we've talked about two things: your identity, what you think you are, and authenticity, how you present your identity, about who you think you are and how you present yourself. There are people who think they are very malicious, but they present themselves as very good. So that is not authentic. And in self-identification, there's what we call the authenticity paradox. The authenticity paradox is that trade-off between sticking to your true self. There's someone who said here that she sticks to her true self despite the fact that it is very challenging sometimes in the workplace. So the authenticity paradox is the trade-off between sticking to your true self or doing what it takes to be effective at the moment. And that is usually very challenging, because there are moments when you have to do what it takes to be effective at the moment. But there are moments when it gives you an opportunity to stick to your true self. So when you have that trade-off of, I'm usually like a morning person, so I'll only work until 2 p.m. and go home. But there's work that needs to be done in the afternoon. And therefore you have to make a trade-off and become an afternoon person. Take a lot of coffee and pretend you're really active in the afternoon. So that trade-off between, and leadership has to have that trade-off. You understand yourself, you're authentic. It is very important to be authentic. But then there's a moment when maybe you're compassionate, you're fair and what, but there's a moment that leadership calls for you to stamp authority, and therefore you will have to have that authenticity paradox. You have to have the trade-off of your identity and doing what it takes to be effective at that moment. And identity has multiple components. You can't just identify yourself with one angle. It is human nature to want to fit in as well as to be unique. There are moments you really want to fit in, but there are moments where you want to be unique. You just want to stand out, you want to be alone. And some aspects of identity are visible and others are not. So these are facts that we must also accept, that it is human nature to want to fit in as well as to be unique. Some aspects of identity are visible, others are not. Some aspects of identity are accepted, some are taboo. You could have an identity, but in the community where you come from is regarded as a taboo. And aspects of your identity can be gained, lost, or changed over time. It is not cast on stone. Identities change, maybe out of experiences or things that happen to you. So when you are also identifying your personal identity, as you go back to reflect, I want you to also think about, and I'll share this with you as well. I'll share this with you, this template with you so that you can work on it. What are some of aspects of who you are that are visible to you but unseen by others? There's some part of your identity, your personal identity, that is visible to you, but others cannot see it. And then what aspects of your identity energizes you or strengthens you? You know, me, I'm here because of this identity of mine. It really, it's the part of your identity that you really like. Because I told you, identity has different angles to look out for. But there's some of your identity that you really like, and there are those that they're there and there's nothing you can do about it. But so what are those aspects that energize and strengthen you? So I'll also give you a template to reflect on and write about it. So as we go, also another thing that we will ask you to do, and we will have this by at least in 2 hours, you should have this so that you can start working on them. As you go, there are other things that we will ask that you reflect upon as well. We will give you some assignment for reflection that you will come and discuss. When we begin our next session, we will ask you to come and discuss with us. And I'll just mention it here that in the reflection process, we will ask you to think of a time when you are at your worst. What was happening inside of you? Maybe you had stress, you had frustration, and how were you perceived by others in that moment? Because the next learning touch point will be about leading with purpose. And therefore, we will want you to kind of give us this reflection about yourself. Remember, we said this is a safe space, and what is said here remains here. So you'll think of a time when you're at your best. We'll send you these questions. And then you'll think of a time when you are at your best as a leader. You'll first of all think at the time when you are at your worst, at the time when you are at best as a leader and how it made you feel. And then you'll have to find an image or an object that depicts you at your best or brings you, shows you at your best, an image or an object. And you'll bring this to the next session. So we will share this with you. So any questions and discussions are open now.
Okay,
Any questions?
Hi, Maureen.
Hello.
I think
Please, if you are not asking a question, mute your microphone. You have to
Hi,
unmute
Maureen.
again. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for the very informative presentation. Hey, it's so, like, I feel very full. And thank you so much. So the question that I have
is regarding the aspect of authenticity, because I'm understanding from the presentation that it's your true identity that is away from conforming with the pressures of the society.
Yeah.
So I want to just be guided on the difference, or that a small difference between authenticity and resilience as a leader. I would make an example, because in a situation maybe where I'm leading a campaign, a human rights campaign in my community, and then there are some people supporting the campaign. It is getting really hard, but then at some point I feel very scared, and instead of maybe being open to these people, that at this situation maybe I don't feel like maybe continuing with the campaign anymore because of the rejection that we're getting, or the pushback, because we know what happens with the women rights campaigns in our like in our spaces. So I'm feeling very scared, but I know that if I disclose genuinely that I'm scared, it means that the trust that these people are having on me as a leader is going to be minimized. So I have to be resilient and then tell them that forward we go. So I'm like, so I'm failing to understand now the difference between being genuine or authentic and the aspect of resilience that we have to apply as leaders, because like we normally apply resilience in the situations where we feel like, here I have to go out of my authentic self and be something that I'm not, to stand as a leader. Thank you very much. I hope it's clear.
Yeah, it's very clear, and that is a very, very good question. So, like we said, authenticity focuses on being true to oneself and expressing genuinely how you feel and your identity. While resilience centers on the capacity to withstand difficulties and adapt to challenges. So, like we were talking here, authenticity is about self-awareness and integrity and interpersonal relationships, where resilience is a bit different. It's about emotional strength, adaptability in the face of adversity. And you've really mentioned how that adversity shapes out. Both qualities are valuable, and as authenticity fosters deeper connections with others and resilience help individuals, it helps you to navigate the challenges of that advocacy. And that is why I mentioned in part of this presentation that I will share with you. It is what we face as leaders, it's called the authenticity paradox. It is where there's always a trade-off between sticking to your own true self and doing what it makes to be effective at the moment. So you know very well, if you share your fear, then you've killed the campaign, you know. But in real self, you're fearful. So you've reached the authenticity paradox. And therefore, there has to be a trade-off between sticking to your true self or doing what it takes to make sure the campaign is successful. And that is something that leaders face all the time. You just need to know at what point have you reached an authenticity paradox, and then conform or adjust to that moment in time. Have I answered your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Thanks, yeah. There are moments when we have to hold our head high to reach there, though sometimes we feel really, really scared. But again, we have to balance with how far can we go, because sometimes it is not worth our lives. I would say that. So Any other question? That was a really good one. Okay, so I can't see any other question. Just a reminder that there's a form that has been shared. Click the link and fill in the attendance. It is important for us because we know we must do some percentage of this training before we graduate. So it is good to also it will be good to comply. So I will share the presentation together with the what is it called? The assignment for until we meet next time, so that you can do it and then you present it to us in our meeting next time. Any other question? Good. So if there's no question, then it is 3 minutes to end of our session. Thank you very much for attending. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you, Maureen. Bye.